So your outer image versus your inner image. Hey everybody, Chef Katrina, and we're going here at the Chef's Table. And today we're going to talk about your inner image versus your outer image, how to control this. So we've been talking about this pretty much all week about habits and how you can control your inner image versus your outer image. We've been talking about the mindset that you need to grow into. And I was going over my notes this morning in reflection of just all that I learned, all that I've been and had access to over this year. I would say that this year has absolutely been a year of growth, a year of learning, a year of belief, a year of trust, a year of just finding my voice again. And I didn't realize that I had lost it until I really took on this year and took on who am I becoming. And one of the things that we were talking about inside of this 5-day challenge that I'm going through is your outer image versus your inner image. Just understanding what is the most important piece around that, right? What is the most important piece of those two? And we talk about knowing yourself or getting to know yourself. Like, though, if you really want to be successful, the work you do first is in here. It's in between. It's right here. It's in here. It's the belief level and it's the mindset that you start to develop. And one of the things that I really had to take on this year was control your activities. What activities can I control for myself in my life, whether it be my health, whether it be my eating habits, whether it be my business habits, whatever it is, being in control and being responsible for them, to stop looking for outer influences and blaming it on them. Really look at, what am I responsible for? What am I accountable for in building out my business, right? Because ultimately, I'm the only one that can make the biggest difference. It's not going to be my company. It's not going to be the products I create. It's not going to be the customers that I have. In all actuality, the success of my business depends on me. It depends on who I'm becoming and it's important to me. So one of the things, and I'm looking now because I'm kind of going through my notes around this one, is that we talk about that little dash in between. And I had to think about this because the first time I heard that, I was like, oh, that's a little morbid, right? But there is a time period from the day you're born till the day you die. There is a dash, and that's all that represents on a tombstone, right? It says, beloved of between these years. And that little dash on the headstone or the tombstone or wherever you have that be is probably the most important piece for us living right now. It's, how are we living? How are we choosing to live? How are we waking up in the morning and saying, this is how my day goes. This is how my life goes. This is how I want things to be, right? And sometimes I get it. We bump up against the world around us and what seems like political and limitations and things that people tell us we can and cannot do in our lives. But we are the inventors and creators of our lives. We get to choose what we hear and what we don't hear. We get to make the choice of whether who we're becoming we're responsible for, right? Who are we becoming that we're responsible for? What kind of human being do we want to grow up to be, right? And the inner piece, and I love the way they do this. There's 3 things that impact us. And I think I have this in my other, skip back a couple pages. Yes. There are 3 rings around for us. And if you're watching and you're hanging down somewhere, you've got a pen and paper near you, hanging down somewhere, you've got a pen and paper near you, write this down. There are 3 areas in our lives that impact us, right? The first ring, so there's an outer ring, which is the outcome, right? That's the outcome of our lives. It's the outcome of whatever actions we say and do. The next ring in is the process. What are we actually doing? How are we doing it? That's the actions. Those are the things that we're taking on. But the identity, the one that's in the middle, is who we are. See, when we recognize who we are, we get to create our outcomes. And one of the things he talks about is outcome-based examples. So if you say to yourself, I want to be skinny, that is a result-based outcome instead of an outcome of who you're being. Like, change your identity first to create that outcome. We're outcome based. Like, I want to be skinny. Well, that's the end thing. Who do you have to be to become a skinny person, right? And so one of the ways you can rephrase that, instead of saying, I want to be skinny or I want to, lose 5 pounds, is you can restate your identity as, I am a fit and healthy person. See, when you get to restate your identity of who you are, you get to be at choice for how your life gets to be, right? You can tell people that if you're a smoker that you're trying to quit. You can say, no, I'm trying to quit, and you can say you're not smoking anymore. But you can also tell yourself, I'm not a smoker, right? You can say, well, I want to become a successful entrepreneur. I want to have a $10,000 business. I want to have a $10,000 month. But you have to start with first is, I've created a $10,000 month. I'm responsible for that. See, I'm a successful entrepreneur that's able to create $10,000 months. See, when you say that definitively of who you are, then you put forth what your outcome is going to be. So that little dash in between, that little dash that's there in that is your life. And so many times we let other people control that aspect of our lives. We let other people tell us how we're going to be, what we should be doing. We see it on the media platforms all the time. We see it on media platforms that tell us yes or no, good or bad, that disagree, that agree with us. We're always looking for validations on what we've done because we think that other people's opinions are a matter of us. And that's the outward image that we project, right? But in all honesty, I think what we need to work on first is the inner image. This is why I read books and I do my journaling, and I have started getting back into my meditation again, is that while these things might seem a little weird in the beginning when you first get started, these are the elements that make the biggest difference in your business. These are the elements that when you go to work on yourself and you project who you want to be and who you're becoming, that's what makes the difference, right? Who do you say you are becoming? Who do you say? Not because people tell you that's what you should do, but what is your inner image of yourself? What is the inner belief of yourself? When you have that inner belief, that inner image of who you are becoming, right? See, the journey of a human being is that we're not set in stone. We don't stay the same person every single day. Life impacts us and we impact life. It goes both ways. What we say and do impacts life, and then what life happens could impact us, but we actually control that impact. We actually control how life impacts us. We get to control our emotions. We get to control our thoughts. We get to control and look at what was it that somebody said and why would they say something like that? What would have them say something like that to me? And when you start looking at the world through other people's eyes, you start to understand that this world is multifaceted. And this is really deep, I know, but I think it's so important. And it's just something I'm going through right now. It's just a space that I'm going through. And I'm just sharing with you kind of like the journey as I've done these chef tables of things that are impacting me, moments where I'm stumbling, moments where I'm succeeding, and things that are just hitting home right now. And yes, I've been doing this for 14 plus years. Yes, I have been, an internet marketer, home-based business owner for almost 8 years now. I can't believe when I told somebody that today, I was like, holy cow, really? But this is your journey as an entrepreneur, and don't let anybody's negativity keep you from pursuing your passion and you choosing who you become. Because in your choices and your decisions, you get to create your life. And not everyone's going to agree with it. There are going to be haters. They're going to hate. That's fine. When you get your first hater and you've made it, you've made enough impact, you've made enough pushback for somebody's mindset that they don't see the world the way you see it. And that's okay. And that's okay. We're all allowed to have different points of view. And it's just understanding those different points of views that make us so amazing. It's understanding those different points of view that allow us to continue to grow and love each other. And, this world is amazing, and all we have is a dash, and we don't know how long that dash is in our lives. We don't know how many years that looks like. We don't know how many minutes that looks like. So it's creating and making that choice for yourself and how you're going to choose to live your day. And that's why, and I'll point back to it again, go back through, watch or listen and read The Miracle Morning. There's many different versions of The Miracle Morning. The one I read was actually the Miracle Morning for Millionaires. That was one of the Miracle Mornings that I read, and just taking you through the journey of what a morning looks like for millionaires. What do they do different than what we do in building businesses and getting up in the mornings, and what do they focus on, right? What is their self-focus? Because what you'll discover for those that are in business, for those that are successfully building, they have a specific habit and specific structure that they're creating in their mornings that set the tone for how the day goes. And then they truly are in control of their day because they've set the intention of their day such that is the intention of the day, and they're going to fulfill on that intention. That's why we talked about the power list yesterday. That's why we talked about habits. That's why we've been talking about this whole week is like, what are you intentionally doing? So that dash in between is what you can control so that your inner image, who you know yourself to be, starts to come out and becomes the outer image that's portrayed to everybody else. So I hope you guys got some value from that, took some notes around that. I hope that was helpful. I hope you heard something new inside of this. And I really wish you a blessed and productive day, and that you continue to go forth and impact and create the world and the visions of your world that you desire. Because I will tell you this truly is now the time of the rise of the entrepreneur. This is the time where we can make a difference. We can make an impact. And this is where it all happens. It doesn't happen in a box. It doesn't happen, outside of the world. It happens in the world that we create, which is one of the things that I keep saying. It's like, jump in, join the Yep Freedom Challenge, learn what it is to be an entrepreneur, go on this journey with us and other entrepreneurs from all walks of life, from those that have made it to 6 figures, 7 figures, to those that are just getting started. There's something to learn when you're around these types of mentors, these types of entrepreneurs, and you can see the passion to succeed beyond all else is really one of the most empowering things about being an entrepreneur. When you recognize that you're not in this alone, that you're with a group, when you're with a team, that we're doing income producing activities together, that we're supporting each other, that we're cheering each other on, that we're celebrating each other's success. And that to me is a key ingredient when you get into the world of entrepreneurship, is to have somebody cheering you on, to have somebody celebrating your little wins, because a lot of times we don't celebrate our little wins. We step over them expecting a bigger win. And just remember that success is not the end of your journey, right? Success isn't the end of the road. Success is not final. I love this quote. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. You must continue on. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. And you must continue on. So that's what I leave you with here today at the Chef's Table. I hope you all have an amazing day, and set your day with intention, and go out and do the activities that are going to move your business forward. It's not enough just to think about it. We've talked about the 7 self-sabotaging habits that might keep you stuck or from building your business. So, there are things that we can self-sabotage. There's the mindset we need to have about who we're becoming. And then today we talk about working on the inner image to project and build out that outer image that impacts the world. So thank you guys for joining me here at the Chef's Table. Today we were feeding your mind. We were giving it all sorts of yummy, nutritious, good stuff. And that's the first start. It's the first start of becoming who you are. And it's also a part of the reason I keep bringing up this challenge, because I know the impact it's had on so many thousands of entrepreneurs so far. And I've seen the difference it's made for them in their mental mind shift and what they're able to produce. And that's why I say this challenge is life-changing. When you take into it, we go and grab your freedom, grab the skill sets and powers of what it is, because you never know what nugget you're going to get out of this challenge. That could be the difference between where you're at now and where you want to be inside of your business. With that, everybody, I hope you're having an amazing day, and we'll talk to you very soon. Have a good one, everyone.